Hey there guys, super pumped because you're about to see a bit of an interview between myself and one of my favorite clients, Scott, who's an absolute legend. He's gone from 0 to 55K in a period of 3 months. And the crazy thing about it is that he literally had done 60 online courses before joining ours and been trying to make this work for 7 years. And now he's broken through and got results. So I want to share with you guys that journey. Not just kind of like all the wins and the easy parts, but more importantly, the struggles and the things you had to break through. What created those breakthroughs so that you can emulate exactly what he's done to go from 0 to 55K in 3 months and you can get the exact same results. So if this is something that you're like, holy crap, this sounds amazing, and I want to lock in the chance to have a chat with myself or one of the team now, then all you need to do is go below this video and put your details and secure that. But get excited because this interview is really, really important for you to be able to go through and understand those roadblocks and hiccups that you're going to have to go through. And trust me when I say that Scott didn't quite know exactly what he had to change, and you're probably in a similar situation. So watching this will change the game for you if you soak it in and get all the way through to the end. There's some massive takeaways right towards the end. So that's it. Enjoy it, and I'll see you in there. Awesome. Welcome, guys, to this interview with the amazing Scott. Thank you so much for coming in. Scott is one of my favorite clients. I know you're not meant to have favorites, but he's an absolute legend. And he's essentially a coach that joined us a few months ago, and since then has had some amazing growth with his coaching business, starting a new coaching business from scratch. And since then he's made 11 5K sales, which has been amazing. It's now at the point where he can do 10K in sales a week in, week out, relatively easily, because what used to be his weaknesses are now his strengths, which has been an amazing turnaround. So what I want to do with you guys is really just ask Scott a bunch of questions and really just pinpoint what the wins were and the ups, but more importantly, what had to happen on the journey of transformation from struggle to success, and be able to talk through it so that you guys watching along can understand what created the breakthrough for Scott when we started working together to be in this amazing point you're at now, which really is phenomenal because from all the skill sets required to get results, marketing, sales, your mindset's amazing. All the little intricacies are really being nailed at this point. It's just playing out the journey. So thank you so much for coming along, man.
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. So first and foremost, what I'd love for you guys to do is just set the scene for the guys along watching. Just let them know kind of where you were at the start before we started this journey. What were you doing?
Because I'm still new. I'm only 3 months in.
Yep.
So all of this has happened relatively fast. And so I've really had, like, my best so far, even though I'm only new, my best is 4 consecutive weeks, $10,000 weeks or more.
Awesome.
Literally, I had studied over 60 online courses, seminars, traveled all around, Australia.
That's more than I've studied. Just so you know.
But what was weird is I had a head full of stuff, but no one had put it all together. So like the techniques I'm using, obviously, are just follow the steps, obviously, but it's like get leads and make sales. But instead of like what I was doing before, I had a campaign here and a campaign there and a campaign there. I was doing it all by myself. I didn't understand what the purpose of getting a coach was. And so then obviously I couldn't then see the benefit of me selling myself as a coach as well, because I'm thinking like, can't you just learn it? And it's like that, what they call shelf help, where they say, do you ever think that maybe your library knows more than what you know? Because like you got this, or like with online, like with hoarding, like there's these shows on TV where you see houses full of rubbish, and our hard drives are like those houses, full of, for me, it was over 60 online courses. I'd be like, I'll buy that, I'll buy that, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'd be a study junkie, but after it was like about 7 years of studying these things, I hadn't ever received more than 2 email addresses in my coaching practice. I'd come from hypnotherapy, obviously that was working, and now I'm teaching student hypnotherapists.
Yes.
Yeah, student hypnotherapists.
Yep.
To hit their 6 figures, and watching them tell me, like, do videos for me, like, hey Scott, I'm getting the leads. Like one of them telling me just recently did a video saying that within 2 hours got 7 new phone numbers and hadn't even spent any money. Just from some of those.
So one thing that really stood out for me about you at the start was you were great at what you were offering.
Yeah.
So you were competent. The competency was there. What we refer to as proficiency. You were proficient at helping people go from struggle point to success with your coaching business, which is obviously a really important part of being a coach.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome. I really like what you touched on at the start there, which was so many people don't think that you need a coach. And I was the exact same way as well. Before I started this business, Winning, which is now this year on track to do 8 figures, but back in the day that would have been just way outside my realm of possibility. But I was under the same impression of like, why would I pay to learn? I did pay for small things, but never anything really premium.
Yeah.
Until I got to the point of enough frustration with not getting results that I realized I had enough self-awareness that I wouldn't be driven enough to do it unless I had a firecracker on my ass. And for me, that was investing in a 50K program for no other purpose, not even the coaching, not any strategy from that program, because that program was awesome and it got me off the ground, but I didn't get reached out to once the whole year I was in that program.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a hardcore accountability process like what we have, because we have 3 touch points with every client per week. We've raised the standard with our accountability team. It's crazy. I wish I had that to start, but the money alone was enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the value in that. And I feel like you, because we were talking about that before we turned the camera on just before, talk a little bit about what that did for you, because our program's 20K.
Yeah. Well, you can't take shortcuts with personal growth, but you can fast track your business. And so for me, what I was avoiding was, like, I wanted the internet to do all the work for me. I didn't realize that in my head, I was actually just scared of people. And so kind of getting, like, you've made me, you know, in the short term, get myself into uncomfortable situations, which makes me realize that, you know, we're all these same humans. We're in a room. We're walking the same earth together, and we're all going to be whatever your, you know, belief of what the universe is. This is it. This is your chance. So it's like that. What is, you know, something like 20 grand? Like, what is that in the long run? Like, we know that inflation means that also that your money's worth the most right now than it'll ever be worth.
Yes.
So the idea literally is to get rid of it in exchange for an asset for growth, which is the only thing that makes sense. Like, the easiest way out of my problems is to take action.
That same distinction that you had was the same distinction I had as well. Because the thing that enabled me to go, I'm going to put, because I didn't have $50,000 when I joined, so I borrowed 5K, and then I had $1,000 coming out of my account a week, because it was a 50,000 plus GST program, so 55K. So I paid it off over a year. And when I made that choice in my head, I literally had the thought process of what is life? And like, why does 50K matter at all? Especially if I intend on being someone who makes over $1 million a year, why would I ever care about 50K for 1 year?
The way that, what it feels like this program has been is like, you know, you're looking to me and my situation, and in very few words, you're just honest and you just sort of say, this is actually where you are. Nothing's going to change until you change that thing about how you're living. And so for me, I can be a very nervous guy, but what's weird is that after a few actions, like, you know, the whole team's looking up to me, and I'm like, how did that work? And they're like, well, you took action, so people look up to you for action. I'm like, yeah, but I'm a nervous guy, so how does that work? And so the freedom that we have only comes through the steps you take and risks that you take. No good thing has ever really happened to me outside of taking risks. I've tried hard work, I've tried everything, and of course you need to hard work, but you need courage and hard work together. It's that, like, when I'd left my parents' business, it was a difficult decision. When I came to join you, that was a difficult decision, because it's like, it's new, I've never done it, it's outside it, by distinction, by definition. It's a difficult decision to live your life. It's an easy decision to do nothing with your life. And that's the big tragedy if we're not moving. And so it's not just like within being in the program, it's every day. I have to re-enroll myself in life every day.
So for you, it's launching marketing campaigns, filming videos, because you just before this went out and did a video on the street, which I remember the first time we caught up, which was here, which is when you joined Seven Figure Coach after you interviewed me. And I remember walking around just explaining what you need to do to get results and just feeling the nerves. Like, I remember feeling the nerves because you weren't a super confident person then.
Sweating
you
bullets.
are now.
Sweating bullets.
Yeah, 100%. But you are now. You are a super confident person. Scott, for all you guys that know, is in our group and gives learnings and does these big long posts all the time, multiple times a week, giving distinctions and learnings and giving sales tips. I just could never imagine Scott selling at the start of the process, but you dominate it now. Only because you took on that fear and just said, stuff it, I have to do it because there's no other way. And Seven Figured we teach, there's no path of least resistance. It's not like avoid selling because you don't want to sell. Everything that you find hard, you have to do. So you had to sell it. And now you're the exact same person with the exact same beautiful heart and goal to help people, but you're just so much stronger.
Cheers. Like, I think one big way of looking at all this is that once you've stretched a mind, like once a mind is seeing the world in a different way, it can never go back to the way it was.
Yes.
And so even though, like, I'll still get nerves, I'll still get fear, but I spend less time in that fear. I reach out more quickly. I call you. I call Zach. I've called them with thoughts that I've had, like going, I've got all these doubts. I've got all these, life doubts and stuff. And they're like, yeah, of course. And then they help. Like, you help. They all help.
And you reach out when you need help all the time,
Yeah.
which is such an important part of the process, because we've got the answer not because we're so smart, just because we've done it so many times. We find it so easy. Like, we're in the process of, we're going to be launching a series called 7 Figures in 7 Days, where we just build businesses from 0 to 7 figures in 7 days in the coaching space, because we've done it so many times. It's just easy. Like these numbers, 2 5K sales a week, $10,000 per week. You generate leads by launching your campaigns and getting results with them. It just leads to booking calls, to sessions, to closes, to clients.
And I just don't see those as challenging now. It's like that I know I can get on the phone, and I know that basically it's to do with like, the connection, the better answers, all those steps that we follow is making sure that, like, no one should ever get on a call, on a sales call, and run through a script and have no heart connection to the person and just like think that they're doing their job.
Especially not as coaches.
Not as coach, yeah.
Especially, like, it's like the one heart-centered space, if there's any.
If you're not making a breakthrough, if you're not making a connection, if you're not following the steps, then if you're not reaching out as a coach to your coach and asking for help, then it's like you're not really coaching. It's that you've got to...
Incongruence.
Yeah, incongruence. So it's to do it, like, this is our lives, and this is like, for all we know, we get one chance to be here, wherever here is. It's like we're in a room, on a planet, sit next to each other, having a bad time. You're like, who would have thought that this is the life we'd be able to live? Is to like, not just this, but it's that, imagine like what we don't have to put up with. Like, imagine like what we...
Because most people are ignorant to it 24/7. They don't have the awareness or perspective.
Absolutely. That all the trappings, like, it's really hard to escape a prison if every time you get out, you rebuild that prison around yourself again. Like, that to me is so profound that imagine like everywhere you go that all you feel is that, that you can't talk to people, you can't break people through, you can't help people with their lives, you see pain, but you don't think that you're the one who can...
And the way that comes about is by taking the path of least resistance, which creates temporary results, but you're not tackling the thing that's holding you captive and keeping you in that prison. So even if, like, let's say leads is the problem, so you pay someone to do some leads. So you get out of the prison temporarily because you got leads. Then as soon as you get out of it, or that person leaves, or their ads stop working or whatever, instantly you haven't tackled your fear of getting on video or your fear of working out technology or whatever that gap is. So the prison builds itself again. And I feel like because you've tackled everything, you've built this confidence. So what I want to do, Scott, is I really want us to go down, because we've gone from nothing to like no leads, no sales, no product. We found the niche, everything from scratch, to being here so quickly. What have the struggles been on that journey? What do you think the number one biggest challenge that the guys that are watching along, the coaches watching along, would most likely have to go through themselves, or would potentially be going through now? What do you think the biggest challenge that you've had is?
Well, I got sort of lucky then unlucky, then did the work, and then course corrected myself again. So when I first joined, when I went away for a month to, like, I went camping with my wife to a place where there's like no phone reception, and so I did some stuff that you said to do, because I already had done those 60 courses and never had, leads and phone numbers come through. I set up one campaign and came back to 70 phone numbers. So I'm like, woohoo! I cracked the traffic code. And then
in one campaign, we usually say up to 10. So I do 10, and that'll buy that. And we have someone like a marketing coach that iterates it and helps them get awesome by the end of that 10. So be prepared to wait for 10. But if you can crack it on the first, second, or third, that's extra awesome.
But then something went wrong, because like in the Melbourne retreat, like that, you'd said to us like, who's done more than one? Like, I'm putting my hand up. It's like, I'm cracking every code. I'm doing everything. Who's doing the calls? Who's doing? I'm like, me. I'm doing all these things. You're like, who's done more than one campaign? I'm like, nah, I've done one. And then you said basically, you may have gotten lucky, but that's probably not going to sustain you for life. And it was true. That one campaign gave me a massive bunch of like nearly free leads. Like I spent like 150 to 200 or something on it, and got all these leads.
$2-3 a lead kind of thing,
Crazy. And it worked so well, and I was getting really good leads. And then it stopped, and then I had to do new hooks and new campaigns. And imagine how many, if it's coaches or hypnotherapists or whoever they are, that go, oh, here's one ad, that's my whole business forever. And there are people who believe that and that your standards, which seems to be different from everyone else, is that nothing's good enough just to have one and done. because you can do better.
And it's not necessarily about doing better results-wise, because I don't care about you getting results. Like I said, path of least resistancing it. It's about you being able to be someone who can, at any point, generate leads. So I want you to build who you need to be and have mastered lead gen, and that doesn't come from one campaign, even if it works. Because you have to make mistakes to know what not to do. And so with this process, and some people hate it, some people love it, but at the end of the day, it's what creates better results, and it's how we coach. We force everybody to master marketing and sales, whether you like selling or not, or whether you've given yourself the identity as someone can sell or someone that's good at it or whatever. Because at the end of the day, if you put in the work to mastering that area, you're bulletproof for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
The whole rest of your life, it doesn't matter what happens, you're bulletproof. Because it doesn't matter what niche you're in, what product you're in, you know how to market, you know how to sell. You didn't fluke anything. You didn't pay someone to do it. You know how to do it.
Now I'm getting same-day bookings, which is basically where I build a hook of whatever it is that I put out there, and calling them. And like in one morning, if I go like, I need some, got to up this, got to get more leads. People like from that day, from having no campaign, to build that campaign in that half hour, leads within the hour booked in.
I saw the other day in the group you post up like some crazy, was it 30 minutes from start to launch with the campaign?
Yeah, crazy.
Speed, because at the start it'll take you a few hours because you're making all these hiccups, you don't know how to use landing page software, Facebook ads, or any of that stuff. But then when you get used to it, it's really quick.
Yeah.
Especially if you race like you. 30 minutes for a campaign.
And sales challenges too, like my first 10 no's, that's like where I was calling Zach, like saying like, is this actually going to work for me? And he's like, stick with it.
Zach, just so you guys know, is Scott's accountability coach.
Yeah. And even like when you get like, a yes, but like without a proper commitment. And he's talking me through like every step. It's like, here's how you make sure that they stay. And he's right. It's just that there's more than like 2 or 3 things you got to do. Like you got to do them all, and you got to do them right. And you have to do them wrong, and then you got to do them right. And that's like how it works. Like my first 10 no's, like going to to Zach, who's just super crazily good, and he's like one of my top few favorite people on the planet. Or one of the top 2 absolute mind changers, breakthrough coaches on the planet. Maybe him and Tony Robbins or something. Or you as well. It's just that it's just crazy like that he says things to me about like, all right, the next time you're in a call, like this is what you got to do. And then bang, making a sale. And so like my top streaks have only been like just a few months in, has been like a solid month of 10K weeks. So that's something that I never thought that I could do. Which is
so funny because it's all mindset. Because when you were in the other room before and you said to me, what you guys are doing is so different because I'm choosing to focus our business and continue to grow it and evolve it. And like for us, we're just doing this for the rest of our life. There's no like, oh, we're happy here. Like we're always growing, we're always pushing to growth. So this at the end of this year, we'll have 43 staff, and August next year we'll have 90, and we just always push the barriers because why the hell not? And for you, it's a mindset thing because you were competent as hell when you came to this process. But your mindset said it was hard to make 10K a week. Even though when I looked at you, I was like, this guy's a weapon that's got all this skill set, all this, especially knowledge, more knowledge than me, I reckon. But just hasn't executed because the mindset said it's hard to do it, so you don't do it. Like with the Facebook ads you were talking about before.
Another challenge, trolls. What I found, the first time I got...
I said a troll.
First time, even just in a seminar, the first time somebody was a troll, I stopped doing seminars for 2 years.
Yeah, shit.
2 years. It was just I'd only charge like $50 a ticket for a 2-hour thing, done all this work, and one person who sat right at the front, basically at the end of it, hadn't listened to anything, and went, that doesn't work. Like he didn't ask questions the whole way through. On a Facebook ad that I put out, something is about like where it says how to attract up to 40 hypnotherapy clients per week. And somebody wrote, if you just want to, see 40 people a week, just go work at Macca's or something. And then I wanted to write back, or hire more hypnotherapists. Change your way of thinking. It's like that they thought it was so evil to attract 40 hypnotherapy clients a week.
What I really like about this is that you've gotten past it. What I think the stretch is to put any mindset thought into it all. Like for me, it's delete and move on.
That's what I do now.
That's what you do now. Because for me, like I get hundreds of trolls a week on, especially on like the viral videos. Like the video where I was ranting on a trams had over 1 million views, and so you can imagine the people like, you know, I'll just have people that literally I find hilarious to say this guy is an F and C, and that's it.
Or one of my favourites, this guy probably works at Coles.
Yeah, ridiculous shit.
Yeah, like I think I've seen you at Coles, right? Like, I don't know, maybe doing a video.
That was actually someone that bumped into me at Coles.
Really?
Yeah, because I've met a few people at Coles who've seen my videos. So this guy's like, I think I saw you at Coles the other day.
So now, like, in the group, isn't it weird, like, how everyone falls into the same things? They go, like...
Is this in Seven Figure?
Yeah, like... whether
this is our other coaches, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's this or whether it's anyone else in any other... But, so, this is what I notice in ours. There's, like, the top 5 problems people run into and then solve. Like, one will be, like...
it's the same every time. No one defies it or does it differently. It's always the same.
Even I did it. And so, like, one is the niche change.
Yeah.
And you go like, all right, like I haven't cracked it, so obviously this niche isn't working. Let's pick another.
Oh yeah, I haven't got the results yet because I haven't done anything yet. I haven't launched enough campaigns or done enough sales sessions. So maybe it's the niche, and I want to change it. And common problem.
One thing it could be like this is just one of those fixes for that. You go onto their opt-in page, you type in some details as a test, and the test doesn't get through to them. So let's say that they could put $1,000 on their ads, but they haven't even tested their opt-in page, and so they're getting all these leads that are getting stopped at the gate, and then they go like, oh, there's no money in this niche, let's move to another niche. When what they haven't done is, you know, at first, like that's why we've got you guys, we've got James in the group, we've got Josh in it, we've got like these amazing people dedicated to this stuff. If you would only reach out, which we do, we reach out.
You reach out.
Yeah. And that's why it's working.
Yeah.
And so then, like, besides the niche change, like, there's another one of like, they won't spend that much, too expensive. Well, then why would you put why would you put a dollar value on your life?
It's funny because like Ben, who I'm doing a case study interview with after you, had this crazy aha moment a few weeks ago as well. Who's a new client, was living out of his van at the start of the process. Crazy. Now he's made about 80 grand since he started 4 or so weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he's doing really well. Young dude, really awesome guy. But he was spending $70 or $50 a week on his ads, and I'm like, mate, at least double it, because you're getting some leads for that. So double it so you get more leads so you can make more money. And then he did, and I was like, double it again. And then he's like, stuff this. So he went from 50 to 100, 100 to 200. And then he went from 200 to 800.
Yeah.
So now he spends $800 a week on leads, 700 to 800, and generates 70 leads a week. So he's spending about $10 a week. But for him, even a couple of days ago, he made a 10K upfront sale. This guy, young dude, banked 10 grand. He hasn't even spent, he spent barely anything so far in total. But he said to me, do I decrease my spend because he's getting too many leads? He needs maximum 50 leads per week. And I said, no, double it. Because in a few months' time, we're going to hire some sales leaders and you have some spare leads ready for that. But it's an abundance mindset. It's just a change in mindset.
Yeah. Like another one is, like another issue like that I'd run into before you, not so much during, was discounting. I'm like, oh, let's, have a race to the bottom and see what I can do. And so like on my Facebook ads would say something like, 50% off, and that was about it. That was like the whole sell. Just here's 50% off, instead of just trusting in the process.
Yeah.
Or like another issue.
Can you talk to the guys, like give some quick tips to the guys watching about how you generate leads through what we've taught you?
Like little things
and
like
how it's different to what you did before, because I know you tried ads in the past and never got any leads.
Yeah.
So what's different about the way that we teach leads?
Well, I used to try to get like the perfect ad. I only put like, again, $50 in it for a campaign. It didn't work, and it fell over instead of sticking to it. But I was trying to get like the perfect ad so that the computer would do the selling.
That was a big distinction, because you didn't want to get on the phones originally. So you try to sell people online, right?
Yeah, because phones are scary. But not anymore.
Why? Why not anymore?
Just experience. I know that I can do this. I've done it.
And what else have you changed your perspective from in terms of what you were focusing on before to make it really hard, and now what you're focusing on?
I wasn't spending anything before, like to give a gift to the marketplace.
Yeah.
So I've got this whole hypnotherapy industry where no one's putting out free gifts. No one's putting out free ebooks. And I'm like, well...
That's exactly what I want to jump on, by the way. Because you've gone from a place of, this is scary, I don't want to get on the phone because like it's going to be painful to... I'm actually here to give. When you're here to give, it takes all the pressure off, because you giving on that call or in those ads or in those videos is the success. Whether or not you get a result you will get results, but you're not focusing on the results. So it takes the pressure off, and it makes it a more amazing experience for the clients. They don't feel pressure.
Another big one I found, fear of, like after I did my first seminar, I'm like, this is everything I know. 2 hours covers everything I know from start to finish.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then if you ask me to another 5 minutes, I've run out of knowledge. And so I thought that if I give value on the phone, that's all that I had. Like, but I just studied, 60 online courses and stuff, and I've been helping people at the academy and study that. And so I had thought that little of myself to think that, like, what if, like, even in this video here, what if I give my best tips away for free, then no one will need to come to me. But that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's like,
because you knew a lot.
Yeah.
You knew a shit ton before you came to us.
Yeah.
60 courses is a lot of courses. You spent thousands of dollars learning all this stuff. And then you came to us to invest 20K. But the only difference is, all I give a shit about is results. And before the results were nothing. Now the results are 55K so far, which is more than double and a half practically what you've invested. Yeah, more than double and a half. And you can generate 10K a week now.
Yeah. Within a couple of weeks of actually doing your course, I'd done what I call like wife proofing, which is that I'd made my money back. Just within a couple of weeks. 4 sales at 5,000, and that was it.
Yes.
And that's kind of like how, when I was talking to my wife about it in the first place, and she's like, oh, talk to me about it, tell me about it, give me as much information as you can about it. And I'm like,
you guys are obsessed with information.
Yeah. She's like, tell me more. And she's like, well, how do I know if I don't know exactly what Ryan's going to get you to do? How do we know it's a good idea? And I'm like, well, I can't stay here. And she's like, but I've gone like 7 years, 7 years I've been here.
That's crazy.
I don't want 14 years of this. And so never before through anyone's program ever, have they gotten me to implement simple strategies, use my own knowledge.
Some people love that. Some people hate that. And but the people that hate it temporarily until they realize what it brings. Because for us, we are fucking ruthless on the phone. Which, if you don't get your shit done, you will get torn to shreds. Because when you sign up, it's our job to get your results. And we know how shit works. If you do it, you get results. If you don't, you don't. Simple as that. So if we can get you to do it, that's why we have 3 full-time coaches that are there to make sure that you do your stuff, because we know when you do it, it works.
Absolutely. The whole idea of doing, it's that the fear of, like, I thought that, in my diary, that, if I have 6 spots in my diary being used for something per day, that's enough. But there's also a concept called, like, lazy through busy, where you go, like, well, I don't have time to do anything meaningful because I'm busy, like, with all these, like, rat races, go for wheels, and groundhog days. Yeah, or the admin minutia, basically.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
That's all just for the guys watching, because we talk about this a lot. There's on the business activities which drive the growth, and there's in the business activities that keep it going. That all small stuff, kind of like admin, responding to email, kind of has to happen, but it's not going to drive the growth. Whereas like the steps to success, which is the list, kind of like our version of a to-do list, which is centered around growth, that you have to do every week, the steps to success. And you're in the leaderboard most weeks. You've been in the leaderboard? Yeah.
What, like a month in a row?
He's a beast. So he pretty much does the work that's prescribed, that he has set every week. The steps to success, it's only got activities on it that drives the growth. And the average business owner or coach do one of those activities maybe every 3 months. Yeah. Whereas you do multiple every week. That's why you get results.
Have you seen that, because our party group, like, so, what Ryan does, splits, because there's so many of us now, and so much support, also so many people to help us, but split us up into smaller groups to help us account.
It's always been that way. They're called party groups, so they're like up to 5 people that are in like a little accountability module for bonus accountability.
Ours is called Party Group 11, but we called ourselves District 11 as a joke. And this week, out of 5 of us, 2 of them that were new got their very first booking calls on the same day.
That's so good.
After not having leads ever, first booking calls. And the other 3 of us...
That's a small win. Getting a booking call is like, where are the results? But it's such a pivotal point, because it means you had to have launched campaigns, failed with campaigns, set up all your software, got the leads through, got your Facebook ads working, got leads through, had the courage to call them and book them, which is such a big part of the process done. Because after that, it's easy, because all you have to do is you've got people to speak to, and you've got to get through getting through the sales call and getting through the objection handling, which is a smaller part. You do get through it. That's awesome.
Another thing this week in the same party group.
Who are those?
So Jody and Joel
Yeah, nice.
But three
Because
others.
Joel celebrated like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But three other of us from that same group, from District 11, because we've got now a subculture within your culture.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of the,
Yeah,
awesome.
is that the other three of us were on the leaderboard.
That's basically.
Dominating the top positions.
Yeah.
We were not on position 4 and 5 on the top 5.
That's so awesome.
And so that this week, like, you know, Peter had put us up to like saying that this week,
Yeah.
he's like calling it the 5 for 5 mission. So like all 5 of us on the leaderboard.
If you do that, there has to be some kind of extra reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like
At least significance. You can get some serious. I will make sure I do a live on it or something.
Yeah. So we've conspired together to win that leaderboard.
That is so good. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well done. So, what I'm curious to know from you is like, if someone was starting fresh from scratch, what would be like your 3 biggest pieces of advice that you would give them on this journey? There's a fresh coach, they're brand new. What would you tell them to do in order to get results quick?
I think like the obvious one that comes to mind is reach out, and even though it's obvious, there's something that like
Let's pretend they don't have the support because they're not in the process.
Yeah.
So just like the prospects, viewers, fans that are kind of watching along.
I still think the same goes, like reach out, because you cannot succeed by yourself. You just can't, or else you would have done it by now. I just think so. There's like
That's a distinction that I had, and I reached out, and I was in the 50K program, then was in a 125K program at the same time, and a 40K program at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I was sick of wasting time.
Exactly, because that's the biggest currency we have is time, or the smallest, most valuable currency we have is time.
Yes.
Money can go up and down, but time can never go up.
Yeah.
Like you can't save time. You can't manage time. It's that you can spend it. It's like freedom's not worth anything until you spend it. You could be in a cage with the door open, and it may as well be locked if you don't leave. Like if you don't use your freedom, then you may as well just be in a cage.
Yes.
And some people are, but the cage looks like their bedroom, their office, their 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Their JOB stands for just over broke.
Yes.
But a second thing that, you know, an absolute bit of advice.
The first thing was reach out, get a mentor, whether it's us or someone else awesome. Find the best those, and what I would say to know that they're good is that they help you give you structural clarity, because most coaching courses don't. They need to help you, because that was a big one for you.
Yeah.
We found the niche. Lack of clarity is just death with the coach. So make sure they get your structure right, your business model, your price points, how you're going to run your program, when you're going to launch it, what the launch goal is, all those structure. Make sure that they're very competent, they've proven results themselves. Make sure that it's not just about strategy and hey, do this, but they actually give you a plan of exactly what to do, and then they hold you fiercely accountable to it. Because whether you like it or not, you're going to freak out left, right, and center. If you don't have someone to push you and drive you, or something to push you and drive you, you won't do it. Like we all, like I don't, if I don't have leverage and motivation, I don't do shit myself. So I've got coaches in every area of my life for that purpose. So make sure that they're going to push you, drive you, hold you accountable, and make sure there's a massive focus on community and mindset.
Yeah.
And if it's got that, do it. What do you think your third success factor would be for coaches starting out to get them to get quick results?
I think my biggest one is that people forget about people. So they think of like the internet.
Yeah.
Like the internet's like an entity, like it's not a person. It's a device, like a telephone. Like that. Imagine if somebody says, like, I'm going to sell you a telephone that's going to start your coaching business. That you can start $1 million coaching business with this telephone. You're like, it's just a freaking phone. It's a communication device between one person and another.
Yes.
And so that also on the internet, that this is what my problem was, is that I thought of the internet like that. Here's like $1 million device, like a computer.
Yeah. So when you do that program, it's like learn how to make, build $1 million business online. You're thinking, the internet's going to allow me to. I'm going to have this $1 million internet business.
Yeah, people keep saying
Which is
internet.
just a medium to be able to find people that really need your help.
What it is, it's $1 million. There's a human on the other side.
Yeah.
You're a human here, they're a human there, and we keep going like.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Scott.
So it's a little bit of like what marketing techniques help, and we talk about stuff which is only sales psychology, because we have technology, psychology. They change, everything else stays the same.
Yeah.
So it's really that we've got a person there, and this is what people forget. That like when I was afraid of the phone, I'm just like, but if they get what I didn't realize, if they're going to be rude to me on the phone, they're going to be 10 times more rude, like by deleting my ad. So instead, like that, if I can get super organized on the phone. You were talking about on one video, like a marketing and sales spectrum, which can mean that either you're so organized and so ready to go that you can just put something out there that you never need to see a human ever, and you can just sell stuff. But that doesn't come to anybody unless they've already done the first part. The first part is that you need to be in so much contact with people, getting it wrong, getting hurt and growing past that hurt, realizing it wasn't a big deal and you weren't that hurt, to the point where then you can
properly release. So what Scott's talking about, I did this Facebook Live where I was talking about how from start to finish, as when you're helping someone go from being a cold audience member, that could be a prospect, could not, to them being a client, there's a marketing chunk and a sales chunk. You can either choose like a really long marketing process and spit out a few people that are ready to close and have a small sales process, or you can have a small marketing process and then have a longer sales process.
Yeah.
The difference is when you've got a small marketing process, you get way more people because you're not trying to get over that fear and perfectly put them on a platter for the sales process because you're so scared, which loses so many. Because if you, let's say there's 5 stages in a marketing process, you have 100,000, then 20,000 get through, then 1,000 get through, then stage 4 you get like 100 come through, then you get 20 come through because you've gone through 5. Whereas if you went to 3, you've gone 100,000 to 50,000 to 10,000, so you've got 10,000 versus 20. Because you've got a smaller marketing process, which gets a lot more through. And as long as you're not petrified of talking to people that you want to help, you're going to get more people through to that sales process. Yes, it's going to take maybe an extra hour or so to make a sale worth $5,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
Worth it.
But later on, it allows you then to do a really good marketing campaign. Because the only way to do a good marketing campaign is that you need to learn from sales campaigns. You need to be in touch with people. So instead of thinking of like the internet as a magical device, think about it as a telephone with pictures.
Yeah.
That it's also a bit of a computery kind of a thing that, you know, reaches different people in different ways and it's programmed.
The way that I love to mention it, Scott, is that Facebook works not because Facebook ads are some magic formula, but because they allow you to put a message in front of the people that you're trying to help. That's it. Because when you're on Facebook as a user, Facebook knows everything about you, so they can, you as a marketer can target the right people. So you can put a message in front of them. Whether the message is good or not will determine whether they opt in. But it's not some magic thing that spits out leads. If your message is great to the right audience, it's going to be awesome. If the message is shit, it's not going to be awesome. Doesn't mean Facebook ads don't work. It means you got a shit message to the right audience.
So yeah, absolutely. Like, so many nouns confuse us as to what reality is. Like when we use words like the economy, like there it is, that's the economy. Here it's a rectangle, and there you go, that's the economy. And you're like, is it good or is it bad? And you're like, actually, it's not fixed like that. As in, like, you've just got a bunch of humans out there. Go change their lives and sell them a program. It's not about the economy is good or bad. Like, if all you're fixed in thinking is that, like, oh, is it a good time to be a coach or is it a bad time to be a coach? Then there's that freaking noun again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, bad time to be a coach, good time to be a coach. Or as in, like, to say that, do you believe that you're
making assumptions
Yeah.
that everyone, it's like when someone says, oh, how is you, or like, what do you think of golf? And you're like, golfers are bad people. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you're saying every single golfer is a bad person, or every single person that votes for the Labour Party is a bad person. Like, it's just a generalization. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And what we have, and this is what we have to remember, like, this is, I think, the best tip, is don't forget about people, because this is all this world is. It's just like a big rock with people on it.
Yeah.
And the resources, yeah, they're kind of there. But also that a lot of these resources are made up in intangibles. Like things like money is more made up than how many trees we have. Because like money, we can't agree on what money's worth. That's why it keeps changing. It's not permanent. Like money is such an illusion of value, whereas that a change, a coach, a breakthrough in someone's life, that we can all agree on is worth that whole person's life.
Yep.
And then what you get back in gratitude, like just this week, last week, I got given a coffee from one of my clients. I got given a $20 Westfield Coles voucher from one of my clients.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like people care about the change. It's like that person's
They
relationship.
want you to bring them in. That's like a massive distinction that I had. And I love this third point, that they're people. Because a lot of the time we get so caught in our head about the ads and the downloads and the marketing and Facebook ads and like, my business is going to work. Maybe it's not. You don't realize that there are thousands of people out there right now that are real people that have real problems that just want you to make this work so you can change their life.
Yeah.
Like you. If I was stuck in my head and I was like, oh, what's Scott going to think? Maybe instead of just going, look, what's your situation? Do you need help? Yes, you do. Cool, let's do it. And then now you've got a business that's fucking dominating and changing a bunch of lives. If I was caught in my head, that wouldn't be possible. If I I was too stuck in my head and not connected to my heart and connecting to the fact there are so many people out there, the whole thing wouldn't have been possible.
Exactly. Because like, if you don't believe that it's all about people, the alternative to believe is that like we could write you a cardboard sign, and that cardboard sign is somehow injected with magic. And if you write the right headline, you can just wave it out there, and people just start chucking money at you.
Yeah.
It's not the sign. It's, are you making a connection with people? Like, of course, the sign helps. It's a device.
Yep.
Like, all marketing is just a device. Like, the internet's just a device. The phone's just a device. It's like, there's you. Here's connection.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, all this stuff, like, you know, the camera, like you're watching this. This is just an instrument so that we can have a conversation through forms that weren't available previously. And that's all this is. The rest is people. And that's the fear that I had to overcome. It's like, you know, I just touched your shoulders, you're now going to punch me in the head. Like, if that was a fear,
anyway.
Once the cameras are off, keep the cameras on, I'm safe. But it's that fear, like literally, like, you know, that fear of people.
Yeah.
That's why my business before, like, I was trying to make the internet do everything.
Yes.
And I remember, like, in my first few, you know, Monday nights that we've done, like with when you're training us, is that I kept going off track. And like, you're like, Scott, I know you're smart, but just do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but is there a way that I can launch a campaign where I can get like all these people by without me having to talk to them? And he's like, you're like, later.
Yeah.
Later. Do what I told you to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, yeah, but he's like, I know. Do that later. Do what I've told you to do right now. And if it wasn't for you telling me to do that, I would have been like what's basically like, you know, too smart for my own good with no results. You wouldn't let me wander off to these easier pathways.
Path of least resistance.
Yeah, they're not so much easy because they don't work, but they are. There's not much resistance.
They're avoiding the resistance. Yeah, I love those. Those 3 tips are awesome. Give me some skin. So number 1, make sure you're in some kind of support process.
Yep.
In some way, shape, or form. In every area. Like, I recently broke up with my partner. First thing I did was hired a relationship coach. Like, I needed some support. I'm not like I'm smart enough to know that I'm not smart enough to solve everything. So I always do that. Really awesome. And I feel like knowing you used to have that belief where you could learn everything, and knowing it's not about the learning, it's about the doing and getting the right direction.
Yeah.
If you're a coach, you know that.
Reach out.
Yep. Number 2 was make sure that when you're putting marketing campaigns out there, the topic is the most important thing. Not necessarily the small intricate details like the button color, or, you know, it's about common sense. Put something out there that people want. They don't want a free download because you decided you need leads. They want to, whatever the problem is, if they're overweight, they want a guide that can tell them what to eat or what workouts to do, or they want something.
Give them a problem fixed.
100%. Not a download. They don't care about the medium, so solve the problem. And the third thing was realize that this whole business, this whole opportunity is based on the fact that there are real people out there that need help. Yeah. So don't disconnect from that. Don't think that it's you and a computer. It's not. It's you figuring out this to be able to help thousands of real people with real problems that are desperate, and just hoping that someone has the courage to reach out and actually give them proper results.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for everything and coming along today. It's been awesome. And your contributions in the group are amazing. You obviously bring a lot of value to that group, our group, 7 Figure Coach. Amazing job. Thank you for coming today, and well done on your success so far. I'm just excited about what the future holds. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Stuff, man. Well done.
How awesome was that? So much fun. He's such a good guy, and there was some huge learnings in there. So guys, if you've gone through that and thought, that was awesome, I want to be able to get the same level of results that Scott did, then here's what you need to do. You need to go below this video and put your details in to try to secure a free session with either myself or one of our team with what we call the Coaching Business Overhaul Process, where over a series of 2 sessions, we'll pretty much reinvent your entire structure and game plan to get you to 7 figures. Plan it all out, show you what we can do, and our goal for that is to give you so much value that you turn around and go, holy crap, that's amazing. I'm so confident with this plan. Can you help me do it? If that's it, awesome. If not, that's cool too. But put your details in below, and I can't wait to have a chat with you soon.